Thanks, Dan, and thanks, Neil, for joining us again.
Yes, I'm ready to roll. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic. Well, planning and talking to your adult kids about inheritance can be a little bit of an awkward conversation to have. What are some of the discussions you've had around those from both sides, from the kids and the parents?
Yeah, this is a great conversation and a great piece. We're having this more and more, especially during a pandemic, and especially during time when people are thinking about kind of what else is out there and kind of what are they going to do with their inheritance one day, or what are they going to do with their estate. The number one thing I would say is make sure you try to have this discussion when you, as the aging parent or the retiree, are in control. I know it's awkward and it can be sometimes a little bit challenging with kids, but have it when you can set the terms and you can be in control of this, versus when you're not in control. For example, you're in a hospital bed, or maybe your mind isn't there anymore. The best circumstances I've seen is that when a parent and kids have that discussion well in advance of maybe when their health starts to deteriorate. That is the number one, the key off the get-go.
What tips do you have to get the conversation started?
Well, first you probably got to give, I would suggest, again, what I've seen with other successful retirees is, make it fairly loosey-goosey off the start. It doesn't have to be super specific and super precise, but just say, hey, I want to have a discussion with you kind of about kind of what we've done and kind of how we've gotten to this point. And then you want to listen to your parents kind of around, their life experiences and kind of their financial stories of how they got to this point. And again, like I said, you may want to include spouses, you may not. It may be just an old school family discussion between, the parents and the 2 or 3 kids that are still around. But again, you don't necessarily need to get into the precise details yet. You just want to kind of just start the conversation around kind of, this is what we've got and this is maybe what's going to come to you down the road one day, and I want to give you some thoughts on kind of how I would like to see it happen.
What should you definitely not do right off the start?
Well, like I said, I don't think you need to get into the nuts and bolts of the exact numbers and overwhelm, your kids with that information right off the hop. Because the first thing that typically happens with a kid is that they're worried, well, are my parents not going to run out of money, or do they not have enough? And again, it's not about the month-to-month budgeting. It's more about the bigger strokes and about kind of, this is what I would like to see happen with my money. This is where I'd like to see it go. This is the reasons why I've left X, Y, and Z to your brother, and this is why I'm leaving, A, B, and C to you. Just so you understand their methodology and their estate planning in their own mind. I think it's very important to help with this estate process.
Overall, why do you think this has worked?
Well, because it really lessens the stress level, it really lessens the anxiety, and it really helps connect the family in terms of what mom or what dad really wants to see happen. We've seen it so many times with family farms or family businesses where one child has really socked in their entire life around that particular asset, and they expect to get, or they want to receive a good chunk of that asset, and then that maybe, it makes somewhat harder feelings with the other children or the other beneficiaries in the family. Again, if the parents can have that discussion with the overall group, it really helps. It really helps long term for the family, and really helps long term for the parents, kind of as they transition their wealth to the next generation.
Great. Thanks very much, Neil. That's a lot of things for people to think about.
Thanks.
Back to you, Dan.